Fix? Okay. Connecting with others who share similar experiences of injury, recovery and adaptation can be a powerful antidote to the isolation that often accompanies brain injury. A very powerful message that we discussed this morning. And the research into peer supports generally reports improvements in the quality of life measures and community integration of participants. But what works? What are the essential ingredients in successful peer supports? This conference hopes to provide some answers. We have some wonderful speakers this morning, and I'll come up and introduce each of the speakers. Our first speaker is Lauren Spear, Butterfly Hour, the Power of Community and Connection. Lauren Spear is a person with lived experience of a brain injury and runs the Orange Butterfly Foundation in South Australia. Can you please make Lauren very welcome? Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Brain injury and the experiences, challenges, and journeys people face for the rest of their lives are always incredibly unique and diverse. No two brain injuries are the same, but there is one thing that every patient seems to have in common, and that is loss of community and connection. Brain injury patients report that it's one of the hardest feelings to describe. That feeling of pure numbness, the feeling of trying to put a puzzle back together with missing pieces and without knowing what the picture on the box looks like anymore. The feeling of being surrounded by people yet completely feeling alone. It's that feeling of hollowness, being a hollow, broken shell of a person existing but not really living. This is a part of brain injury recovery that often gets overlooked or not even spoken about. Well, I am here today, standing in front of you all, ready and willing to talk about it. My name is actually Lauren Roffey now. As of a week and a half ago, I got married, so thank you. And I am CEO of the Orange Butterfly Foundation, a non-for-profit charitable organisation in South Australia dedicated to improving the overall quality of life for the brain injury community by creating a society accepting of all diverse abilities and needs. I am living proof that anything can happen at any moment that can change your entire life. A possibility you may think about, but never think it could actually happen to you. And 6 years ago, my life was completely turned upside down. I come from an education background, graduating from Flinders University back in 2015 with a double degree in early childhood education and disability studies, where I then built a career around the passion and love I had of teaching young children with a wide range of diverse disabilities. My life changed in the space of 5 minutes in 2018 when I was involved in a workplace accident. Whilst on yard duty, I was assisting one of my young reception students down from a piece of playground equipment when my student jumped and brought me down to the ground with him. I fell and smashed the back left side of my head on a big metal pole before hitting the ground. That's it. That's all it took. 5 minutes to change my entire life. And that was a statement I was very much unaware of at the time. Since this day in 2018, I have been recovering and living with what's called post-concussion syndrome, along with a long list of other life-changing injuries and brain injury symptoms. I became an outpatient in the brain injury ward at Hampstead Rehab Centre and was going to rehab and appointments 5 times a week. A concussion and any form of brain injury truly impacts every aspect of someone's life. I went from a confident young woman, passionate about her jobs, her hobbies and friends, to a broken shell of a person going to rehab 5 times a week. I grieved and was heartbroken. I think a lot of people automatically think that the physical aspects of rehab and recovery would be the hardest parts to go through. But for me personally, it was the emotional side of recovery that completely took me by surprise. That feeling of being totally isolated from everything you once cared about and everything you once identified with. not having any idea who you are anymore, not knowing what you're capable of or what your future may look like. Knowing that there was not a single person around me who truly understood what I was feeling and what I was going through. This is not to say I wasn't surrounded by people who loved and cared for me and who really tried to understand, because I was, but I didn't have anyone in my life who could fully relate to my experiences and how it truly felt. And that's a level of loneliness I wouldn't wish upon anyone. That's when I decided to find a support group, and I came across the Reconnect Transition program at Brain Injury SA. This 10-week program came about almost 12 months after my fall, where I had, up until this point, been going through my life holding my breath. As soon as I walked through those doors and heard the stories of my fellow participants and mentors in the room, it was as if I had just taken my first breath in 12 months. A giant weight had been lifted off my chest, and it felt like for the first time in so long, I was seen, I was heard, and I was understood. What I also noticed was that we were having all of these incredibly insightful and important conversations in the room together as a group that made me so excited to go home and share them with my family and friends. But by the time I left, I was so fatigued I didn't have the energy to do so. I found myself wishing that there was a way I could bring everyone I knew along with me so that we could learn together. At the time, I couldn't find anything that brought the two worlds I wanted most together. There were plenty of support groups and online groups I could join, but nothing really existed that brought the brain injury or disability community and the non-disabled community together as one. And this led me to the creation of the Orange Butterfly. I first published my story in the form of an online blog across a website and social media pages as a way of connecting with others of similar experiences to mine, but to also share educational and informative posts with the wider non-disabled community. I've built an online community from scratch over the past 5 years, which is something I'm incredibly proud of. And then finally, building on from the success of my online community, my in-person community, Butterfly Hour, was born in 2020. The Orange Butterfly Foundation's Butterfly Hour is actively working to create a world where brain injury is accepted, valued, and understood by the wider non-disabled community. On the last Saturday of every month, community members from diverse backgrounds and experiences gather together in the Adelaide Botanic Gardens for an hour surrounded in nature, conversation, support, and community. As of this year, a grant has provided us the opportunity to offer 2 extra locations of Butterfly Hour to community members in both the southern and northern regions of Adelaide as well. Since the beginning of Butterfly Hour, we have held space for a diverse range of guest speakers presenting and sharing knowledge, and participation per session growing from 8 to 60 regular attendees each month over the last 3 years. So far this year, we have held space for over 100 different community members across 3 locations. Butterfly Hour has created a community of people gathering and connecting with each other twice a month with 3 main outcomes at the forefront. The first one being the power of nature. We do know that spending time in nature helps to reduce overwhelming feelings of anxiety and depression, increase the ability to concentrate and think clearer. It boosts creativity and encourages connection building. Spending time in nature also has the ability to lower the amount of stress hormone cortisol in the body, ultimately calming our body's fight or flight responses, which often can become heightened after a brain injury. The second outcome of Butterfly Hour is social isolation. Social isolation for individuals after a brain injury can be incredibly challenging to overcome. Fatigue, mental health, communication challenges, physical challenges, and other brain injury symptoms play a large role in the increase of social isolation for so many people. The feeling of not belonging or being part of the wider community anymore can be incredibly life-changing. So Butterfly Hour is a safe, supportive, and welcoming community event for anybody to come along, meet new people, and feel included in society again. And the last outcome, or objective for Butterfly Hour, is probably by far my favourite, is bringing those 2 worlds I was talking about earlier together as one. We are actively working to bring 2 separate worlds together, the brain injury disability community and the non-disabled community. Sometimes the fear of saying or doing the wrong thing stops us from connecting with people from diverse backgrounds and experiences. This is our chance to meet each other, have important conversations, and learn and grow from each other's life lessons, so that we may move towards a more accepting, understanding, and inclusive community for all. Over the course of this year, 2 surveys were available for Butterfly Hour community members to voluntarily and anonymously participate in online, as well as an opportunity to share experiences via a face-to-face interview process. The following findings are from both the survey and face-to-face interviews with community members, and they have given us permission to share. So as you can see from the graph on the screen, we have a healthy mix of disabled and non-disabled community members participating in Butterfly Hour on a regular basis, with new members joining us every month. These results were from the first half of the year, but do show just how committed we are to making sure Butterfly Hour is a safe space where we are successfully bringing those two worlds together as one. Across the first half of the year, Butterfly Hour attendees across all 3 locations shared what they were hoping to gain most from attending Butterfly Hour. As you can see from this graph, majority of people were looking to interact and connect with others sharing similar experiences to them. They were looking to educate themselves about disability and diversity, and also to learn new and helpful information. Decreasing social isolation and increasing mental health were also important goals for our community members. Across the second half of the year, Butterfly Hour attendees were asked to reflect on the overall effect Butterfly Hour is having on their mental health and quality of life. An average answer of 7.8 out of 10 was recorded, with 0 being no quality of life improvement and 10 being a great improvement. When asked to share their thoughts further, this is what some community members had to say. I enjoy meeting and socialising with other like-minded people. Such a positive experience to meet with, get to know, and have support from those experiencing a similar or the same set of symptoms and experiences. Knowing you're not crazy and not alone is life-changing. Butterfly Hour has given me the opportunity to feel a sense of belonging in an otherwise very isolating disability. Butterfly Hour has given me a purpose to help others that are doing it tough. It has improved my mental health and increased my knowledge of brain injury and its effects. At the beginning of the year, Butterfly Hour attendees were asked to rate their social isolation levels, with 0 being not isolated and 10 being very isolated. The average answer from attendees living with a brain injury was an 8 out of 10 rating. Across the second half of this year, attendees were again asked to consider how Butterfly Hour had improved their social isolations, and this graph shows their response. An average response of 7.6 out of 10 was recorded, with 0 being still very isolated and 10 being very engaged in the community. This result shows a positive mental health outcome for regular Butterfly Hour attendees. Having something people can depend on and put in their diaries, look forward to throughout the week, and know that if they don't show up, other regular community members are there messaging and checking in on them. This is more than just a monthly event for people. It's an inclusive and welcoming family. Being able to provide people with a dependable community, something to look forward to, and a way to improve mental health and decrease those social isolation levels are all things we as a foundation are incredibly proud of. This last graph shows what people are most loving about Butterfly Hour so far this year. The most popular answer was the community feel it provides and meeting new people, followed by the educational guest speakers and helpful information. Improving overall mental health, feeling less isolated, and being something people can look forward to every month are also things our community members love about Butterfly Hour. I would love to finish my talk with you all today by sharing an interview series we completed at a recent Butterfly Hour event in the Adelaide Botanic Gardens. So you can hear more feedback straight from our community members, both disabled and non-disabled community members. I hope that by sharing here today with you all, you can see how truly powerful community and connection is to individuals no matter what your experiences are. Thank you so much for listening. Hi guys, it's Lauren, CEO of the Orange Butterfly Foundation, here at our 3rd birthday for Butterfly Hour. Let's go chat to a few of our community members.
I love being at Butterfly Hour because of being in the beautiful nature of the parklands and botanics, and also the talks and the people that I get to see here. It's wonderful.
I love being at Butterfly Hour to see all the people I know and connect with them, and being in a beautiful spot, and also, yeah, learning some great information.
Since I've been coming here, it's been so great because I'm actually around people that have similar stories and experiences, and you actually learn something by talking to people, and actually it helps you in your journey, and it's such a great place to be. Everyone's happy. I've been coming here for a year now, and I look forward to it so much, and great guest speakers, and it's just brilliant. It's really good.
Well, what I love about Butterfly Hour is just being able to meet so many different people. We've all gone through the thick and healthy side of it, and we're just trying to get ourselves better and make a good choice for ourselves.
Butterfly, it's good to meet people, socialise, make friends, and get out of the house, do things. It's a good gathering.
So I love coming to Butterfly Hour every month. I'm an occupational therapist, and it's a great way for me to keep in touch with people in the community and people who have a brain injury, and just hear their stories, which I just find extremely beneficial. And it's a great group, and yeah, the setting's just wonderful in the Botanic Gardens, and yeah, I think everyone really enjoys being here.
I think just the how welcome I've always felt, and the sense of community in this whole system that event that Lauren set up is just amazing.
I really enjoy coming to Butterfly Hour because of the different guest speakers, and every time I can learn something new that's relevant to me.
Butterfly Hour is a fantastic thing that happens every month. It's great for the community, getting outdoors, meeting all the people involved within the community, and yeah, it's just fantastic to see everyone come together and learning some new things.
Thank you.
Okay. Our next speakers I'd like to call to the stage are Perth's Kings Park Warriors. From humble acquired brain injury community support group to metro-wide not-for-profit, the journey of consumers with lived experience supporting each other. Miffy Durham, State Head Injury Unit, and Gregg Oughton, person with a lived experience of brain injury, from the Kings Park Warriors, Western Australia. Please make them both welcome. Thank you.
Okay, hi everybody. That's the wrong glasses. In 2018, the founders of KPW developed friendships and peer support through a lived experience shared in the Living Well with ABI group, 8-week ABI education group facilitated by clinical psychology at the State Head Injury Unit. They wanted to continue this shared experience and realised that ongoing connection was key for this to occur. Initially formed with 7 group members as dedicated, 5 regular members continued together as there was a significant gap in community/peer support. I know I didn't need to read the slash bit, for people following ABI, particularly in the 18 to 65-year-old range. What was already in place tended to cater for older adults with different goals and care support needs. For 2 years, this group met weekly at Kings Park and and momentum started to grow as word got out about the support provided. The group then expanded with a new and second location in Rockingham. Since 2022, the group has continued to grow and expand with 7 groups available metro-wide, from Mullaloo to Mandurah, Fremantle to Guildford, east, north, west and south, if you don't know Perth. And additional KPW young adults group from 18 to 30-year-olds. And the formation of a KPW carer support group in late 2023 that my wife looks after. Both in conjunction with Synapse Australia. Online connection has been facilitated through a private Facebook group and WhatsApp groups with approximately 125 members of the, actually that's 230 now, of Facebook group from WA, Australia and overseas. And over about 300 people have accessed KPW services since inception. I don't really know that number, it's probably quite a bit more. And we have just reached the other day that over 1,000 group attendees so far this year have attended our groups. And appropriately, one of the groups, they were the Saturday group that we've just not long started, that was the Family and Carers group. We run a brain injured group alongside that so that they can bring their loved ones at the same time. Those three people, including myself, were original members that did the Living Well with ABI course. And Edith, the one at the bottom, she was the 1,001th first person to attend our groups this year, so that was pretty cool. So why has it worked? Shared experience in a group environment has fostered friendships, an environment where everyone is looked after by other members. When you are recovering from your ABI, the focus is on self, how you are going, your difficulties, improvements, challenges, relationships, etc. But as you progress, the KPW helps consumers to share their experiences and challenges in a psychologically safe and supported environment. Family is welcome to attend, which helps with building relationships and understanding, and their understanding of their loved ones, alongside that. So, Miffy's going to take over now.
Happy to take over.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. It's also worked because this man is amazing and very, very motivated and driven. But what KPW has done, not only having a peer support network, but it has opened up so many opportunities for those who are attending. So the people that have experienced an ABI have gone on within KPW to take on group leadership tasks and roles. They've become committee members, they've built skills through become members of the board, and it also has encouraged options of study. So they aim to create a safe and inclusive space for individuals with ABI and their families, organising support groups, educational workshops, recreational activities and community events which foster a sense of belonging and overall promote wellbeing. Together as a community, we can empower individuals to restore hope and navigate the challenges of ABI. Together, we have created a core foundation of understanding, compassion and resilience. Our weekly coffee catch-ups have evolved into something much greater, a vibrant community united in their shared experiences and dedicated to making a positive impact. One thing the group also does when we look at opportunities is it encourages people to challenge actually what they're looking for. You may come out with a return to work or whatever that goal is, which may or may not be an achievable goal. But the group helps people to look at what are their other roles. Do they want to return to being, get back into gardening, being a great parent, being a great grandparent, supporting their friends and getting back into those roles. So taking away that sometimes unattainable future, getting back to the employment they were before. But it's also within this group created a great environment for people with very highly skilled backgrounds. So they've got former defence officers, they've got former police officers who are able to try to start to do some work in that area of trying to reduce stigma with ABI in the community and getting that education message back out there as well. So it's really tapping into people's skills to create opportunity. Another thing that has been really important for the growth of the group has been making partnerships. So most of those photos were taken from the launch that occurred in July, which was fantastic. But Gregg has worked really hard with his team to make partnerships. So initially, as mentioned, the group commenced from the Living Well with Acquired Brain Injury education program that my unit, the State Head Injury Unit, runs. And we are an ongoing referral source. We try to let people know about KPW all the time. And one of the more recent groups that started is actually Gregg comes to meet people on site with us so that he can tell them about the group, get them settled before going and meeting a wider range of people. The first photo there on the left is Edith Cowan University. So they've got a SPIN program, which is a neurological research program. Very much like a great opportunity for members to be involved in because they can participate in the research there. It's very safe. A lot of it's looking at sleep and fatigue and those sorts of things, and they get all their reports which can help then inform their rehab if they can't get that stuff elsewhere in the community. We've also been involved in a research project there called NeuroHub, which we hope to be able to promote a bit more in the near future. They're involved with Epilepsy WA, and the gentleman in the green shirt in the middle at that top, he was formerly with Synapse as well. But with both of those organisations, they've really helped with promoting KPW, getting people in with neurological conditions, and also helping out with some of those bigger decisions with becoming a not-for-profit. They've also aligned themselves with the WA Brain Injury Advisory Group through consumer representation and other ABI support organisations such as Beyond ABI. One really strong bond that has been built with Epilepsy WA is the CEO's niece had a stroke at the age of 21 and had never connected with anyone that was her age. She didn't want a bar of any other groups that were around there because a lot of the stroke groups, particularly in WA, are for older people. So she came along to KPW and absolutely loved it and found a really great connection there. She has since returned to the UK and is working really hard to try to get something off the ground there for people of a similar age and experience. So what does the future hold? Go forward.
KPW's long-term goal is to model the organisation nationally and internationally, assisting others to establish local support groups for people with ABI, the families and their carers. Just keep doing what we're doing, but setting it up all over the place. To continue to build relationships with other ABI support networks and work together for the ABI community. Focus within the group is ongoing gratitude, focusing more on positives and life ahead, always moving forward. So after this, let's have a chat if you want to find out more about what we're doing. Here's a website up there, and didn't think of a QR code. But that's okay.
If you just Google Kings Park ABI Warriors or Kings Park Warriors, you'll find it. But Gregg is always on the lookout for people to be involved, whether that is a person with a lived experience or a clinician or anybody with an interest in anything and you want to get involved in a fabulous organisation. Please do reach out, even if you're not WA based. As Gregg said, his plan is to one day model this outside of Perth. And to be honest, as the program manager of a community rehabilitation team, the biggest feedback we get is how great all the consumer involvement is. So really, we can just push our whole team aside and just get a bunch of consumers in, and I think everybody will be really happy. But it is the best feedback we get from anybody with all our education programs, is hearing that lived experience. So if there is something that you want to have a chat with us about, come and see us. Otherwise, feel free to reach out and we can get in touch. Thank you.